Hi everyone, Tess from the Arty Crafty Place here, and I've got a new printing tutorial for you. So today I'm going to be printing a lemon tote bag, a little bit like this one behind me, and I'm just thinking that this is going to make great gifts for people this Christmas. It's such a simple design, very easy to print, and also everyone likes a lemon, and it's so bright and fresh and cheery. I just think it will go down a treat with lots of friends and family. So I'm going to show you how to do that and just a couple of tips, just to give you some ideas of what you can do at home. So I've got all my normal printing equipment, like my foam mat, my rags, my paint tray, my paints. Now my paints today, I'm using So Soft paints, just because these are like a little bit plasticky and they come up really bright on the fabric. They've got a slightly waxy feel to them once you finish printing, but it doesn't affect, you know, how you'd use the bag or the item day to day. But they just come up really bright and fresh, so I really like using these paints for that. So the paints I'm using is primary yellow, So Soft fabric paint, and light green. So these are the ones I'm using today, and you'll see how bright and fresh they are. And then, like I said, I've got my lemon printing box, so I'm using our Leafy lemon, and I've got my paint tray, my foam mat. So if you haven't printed it before, make sure you go back and watch a basic printing tutorial, and then you can move straight onto this. And if you have printed, you'll know all the things I'm using, and you'll be ready to have a go at this yourself at home. Right, so we're all set up ready for printing. I've got my large foam mat underneath me, so I think I've got a 43 by 43. So I'm just going to keep that underneath me. And what I think is the easiest thing to do is to get a bit of paper and then put this inside the bag to stop the paint going through to the other side. If you had a smaller foam mat, you could put it inside and keep moving it round. So put that in, and then I'll just move it across when I go to do this side, and that will just stop any paint going through. So I'm going to pour a nice blob of each paint colour out. So like I said, this is bright yellow and, primary yellow and bright green. And I have got a 3 and a 2 centimetre dabber. So 2 centimetre, 3 centimetre. Now, it doesn't matter what size you have, you just want to make it as easy as possible for yourself. So I'm going to be using the 2 centimetre for the leaf and the 3 centimetre for the body of the lemon. And this just makes the printing process really easy, and I've got the right sponge dabbers for the design I've got, so it makes it very simple. So I'm going to put them in there, and then make sure before you move on to your tote bag that you've practiced this design, just like I say always, and you kind of know what you're doing. But with this one, I'm going to do the leaf all over, and the key to it is just to keep moving it, keep printing it different directions. And then I'm going to also print off the edge, which gives a really nice professional all over look. Sometimes it can look a little bit regimented if it's just inside the tote bag design. So you'll see that I'm going to be going over the edge. And my foam mat will just catch that, so don't worry about that excess paint. So get your sponge nicely inked up. Make sure there's paint covering the whole of it, and then you're just going to tap that all over. So I'm going to be a little bit careful at the top, but otherwise just get the body all printed up. And then with my smaller dabber, I'm just going to be a little bit more precise and just tap the leaves and the stalk. So first print, I'm going to go from the bottom corner, and I'm actually going to start half off just for my first print. It kind of gets me going. So I'm going to slightly overlap it over the edge of the bag, just give it a wiggle, and up, and there's my first print. So I'm just going to keep going with this, and I'm going to speed this up so you're not watching the whole thing, but as you'll see, I'm just constantly moving the design, and that's kind of the key with this. You'll see the design building really quickly with this printing block. It fills the space up really well. And a couple of rules I always stick to is not to place the block the same way next to each other. So see here, this one went down and then I did another one down there. So what I always try to do is look at the one I'm printing next to and print it differently. So whereas this one's going this way, so what I'm going to do actually is I'm going to go down here and do it opposite. So just always make sure you're changing it and things. And it does fit into each other really well, you know, it's kind of like a bit of a puzzle. It's seeing where you can get it best to fit. So that's what you want to be concentrating on. And because this is quite a large block, it does need quite a bit of a wiggle. So make sure when you put it down, so let's do this one this way, facing a different direction. So when you put it down, I use the palm of my hand, I use it flat and just give it a wiggle all over. Just make sure you get on the top and the body because it's quite solid. You want to give it a good wiggle. Now, you may notice when you're printing something with a lemon, it's got quite a solid body, so it's solid colour. Now, when you print this comes out quite cloudy. Now, some people think that they're printing it wrong or it's not coming out quite right. That is just the block printing effect. When you've got something that's more detailed and not such solid colour, it comes out a bit clearer, whereas something that's a big body of solid colour can come out a bit cloudy. So some people don't like that, but with the lemon, I don't mind it. But if you're wondering, the cloudy effect on the solid print, that's normal. You're not doing anything wrong. So I'm going to carry on and keep filling the space. So I'm going to slide the paper across just so I can move onto this side a bit more so the paint doesn't go through. But like I say, you can always put your foam mat inside your bag instead. That will also help catch any paint from going through. So again, look, you can see when I'm printing off the edge, don't worry about the paint getting on your mat. You can always wash them after or just let it dry. But I just going to touch the corner on there, give it a good wiggle. And then I've just got this really neat kind of half print, and then the rest of the paint has just been caught on my mat. So what I'm going to do is just make sure I don't jog my tote bag, and then it won't touch that wet paint. So now I'm getting nearer to the end. I don't really want to have any half prints over my top here. So what I might do is see how I can squeeze in a couple more prints, and I'm going to try and do this top bit here and then work my way out. So I might have to have one that overlaps here, just seeing which way it would be best to go in. Maybe this way. Oh no, I must have forgot to put paint on that little bit. Never mind, we can touch that up at the end with a little paintbrush. That was my hastiness. I must have forgot to tap any paint on it. So I managed to get that print in there. Where it's gone over the seam a little bit hasn't come out, but I'll just touch that bit up after. So I'm going to get another whole print in here. And then just there, I'm going to just squeeze the leaf in. So just tap up the leaf and maybe a little bit of the yellow. So I've just got that little bit in there, and then I'm going to try and get a couple more on the other side. So yeah, when you get to the end, it does get a little bit harder just to try and fill in the gaps, but don't be too precise about it. Just see how it turns out. That's kind of the fun of it. This design is really easy because it just flows everywhere very naturally, so you don't need to do it kind of regimented. It would look quite nice if you just did it all in a line kind of hanging from the bag, but I wanted the kind of all over look because it's easier when you're not trying to be a perfectionist. It's easier when you're being a bit more free-flowing. I'm going to try and squeeze one in there. And then I'm going to get one more half print in up the top. So what I'm going to do is just touch up this little bit with a paintbrush, just to fill the colour back in. It just missed a little bit when I printed it, so that just helps give a bit of colour back. And then what I might actually do is I'm gonna reprint over the leaf stem. So to show you how I do this, I block off my last print just because you don't want to get any paint on that, and then I'm just going to put some paint on my stalk, and I'm going to very carefully try and overprint it. Now you have to be quite steady-handed for this and be prepared for it not to come out perfectly, but try and line it up with the last print. And there we go. And there we have a gorgeous lemon tote bag. So I'm going to take the paper out from inside, and I'm going to take it off of this, put it on the airing rack for a minute, and I'll come back and show you when it's dry. So I've left my tote bag for 15 minutes, so it's nice and dry. And I thought I'm gonna personalize this quickly. So I'll show you how easy that is to do. I've got our kind of small capital alphabet set, and I'm gonna give this to somebody called Josie. Now, what I quite like to do is I like to print over the top of the design. So I've got a black fabric paint, because it makes it look really nice and crisp. And then I'm gonna print over the top. So I'm gonna do this just in the bottom corner and just tap the paint on and then overprint this. So I finished putting the name on, and here is my lovely lemon tote bag. So this is going to be a gift for Josie, as you can see, and I just think it's so simple, it's so easy to do, and I just think everyone would like a lemon tote bag. It's very contemporary, very stylish design. Also, it can be used all year round, especially to brighten up the kind of winter months. So I think it would make a really lovely Christmas present. And you can see here that I use the fabric paint, so once it's all dry you can heat set it and then it's totally washable. And also you can always use this design on other items. So here I've got one of our wide gusset makeup bags, and this looks really nice. So this is for Ellie. And I just printed this again in the same style with the same colours, and it's come out beautifully. So I hope you've enjoyed that and it's inspired you to have a go with the lemon yourself. Thanks for watching.